American gun laws. In Parkland, Florida, 17 were killed at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School last week. It's ridiculous how much... This is becoming a common thing now. It's like... America need change, but nothing's being done about it. What do you think, like, what needs to be done to stop it?
Well, firstly, what I would like to say is I think we can both agree on this. That was an awful tragedy that happened, and not like no one deserves to go through that. But I think we just disagree on the policies that happened. I think the system failed here. I think that's the thing that I agree. I think because he had students were suspicious of him. He had his social media posts were disturbing. I'm sure he had mental issues. But I'm just wondering how he was still allowed to roam the streets.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was looking at some articles and they were saying like some of the neighbours found many times police have been called to his house for suspicious and violent behaviour. Clearly, that's a warning sign of someone who's not in the right state of mind and should be like given help. And I was also looking at how on a YouTube video a year or so ago, he commented, his account, Nikolas Cruz, commented, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter." The YouTube user reported it to the FBI, but the FBI couldn't track him down. Over a year ago, said that he's going to be shoot up a school, but the FBI, when his name is on the account, can't track him down. It's a bit...
Yeah. I mean, the FBI have been having a nightmare the last few weeks with the memo coming out and that, which is a whole different topic. But I think that YouTube comment, I mean, it annoys me how YouTube don't take enough attention on that comment and instead censor people, demonetize videos for saying something slightly controversial, something slightly right-wing. That's really infuriating me. And no, I think like YouTube needs a whole transformation. That's what I'm going to say. This could be another topic, but it needs a whole transformation. That CEO of it, Suzanne, I can't pronounce his second name, the CEO of it, she needs to go because honestly, she has really destroyed the website, the free speech of the website, as I say in quotation marks.
Yeah, it's you can go back to that Logan Paul situation again. He videos someone who's committed suicide in a forest and it doesn't get taken down for like, I think it was 2 days or something, and the FBI, YouTube don't do anything about someone who's saying they're going to shoot up a school, and then they actually do shoot up a school. As bad as it sounds, they don't do anything, but then people who are making good content, nothing wrong with it, are getting demonetised. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, so it's like PewDiePie. I mean, you say one, he makes very entertaining videos, but he says one swear word, and that's it. You get demonetized. I think it's just not right, in my opinion.
Going back to when we were talking about on the mental illness side of him, Donald Trump spoke to the people of America like he should do. He didn't mention the word gun once in his speech. He mentioned mental illness, didn't mention guns once, which it looks like he's sort of like shying away from the fact someone's just walked to a school with an AR-15 and shot 17 people and killed them.
Well, I think that's what I think he didn't mention the word gun because he's trying to get he doesn't want to fall out with his own Republican Party. I mean, the Republican Party is very strong on everyone should have guns, the Second Amendment. So he doesn't want because in the past Donald Trump used to be all for gun control, but now since he ran for president, he's changed it. He's changed his mind. When he's running for president, and now he doesn't want to go back, and he doesn't want to upset Republicans. Also, I do agree with him that it's not a gun issue. I think he could have done it with another weapon. May not have killed as many people, may have with that other weapon, whatever that weapon is. But I don't think it's a gun issue. I think it's more of the security. I think it's more like other people should have guns, which we'll talk about later, maybe teachers. We'll go through security, like what should be done in the future later on in this podcast. But yeah, I don't think it's a good issue.
Imagine if you were Nikolas Cruz and you were going to go shoot up school. If you don't have the gun, you're not going to go shoot up school. The fact that he was 19 years old, not in the right state of mind, can go buy a semi-automatic rifle and go do that. If he had a knife or another weapon, say, do you think he would go do that? He wouldn't get the same results. Obviously, he wanted to go do something because he's a maniac and idiot. And that's another thing. In February 2017, President Trump repealed an Obama regulation that would have made it easier to block the sale of firearms to people with certain mental illnesses, and Trump then blames this on mental illnesses. The Obama rule would have prevented around 75,000 people with mental disorders from being able to purchase a firearm.
I've heard that a lot, where that Trump point where it says he made it easy for mental illnesses, and that's like simply not true. I think what he passed, the act that he passed, it was about, I can't remember the exact thing. It'd be easier if I lived in America, obviously, but there was a law. It was something about mental illness, but it certainly wasn't made it easier. I think it was something about taking guns away from mentally ill people. But I'll have to look that up, because I do know it certainly didn't make it easier for mental ill people. I said certainly not. But there's a lot of like, I think it's just the media that have done this, because like they've been making up stuff since this happened. Like they said, there have been 18 mass shootings in schools so far this year, which is simply not true. There's been more like 5. So I think that as well. I'll have to research myself.
I did my research, and there's been 18. I wouldn't call them mass shootings, but there's been. But the thing is, in them statistics, suicides are also counted, which that's will bump it up a lot. And that takes
that's another
half
thing that it's included, which I don't agree with. That's the thing, you've got to really look into these statistics, because you don't know what they include, what they don't include. So yeah, and the fact that they include suicides as well is just stupid. And call it like 18 mass shootings, like just no.
It's just media. I think because probably most of America against Trump. Some of the big media outlets are just trying to make him seem worse than he is. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump, but come on.
I use a quote from Ben Shapiro. This is a man, as he's made of mud. Now, what I mean by that is if he come up against Oprah Winfrey in the presidential race in 2020, Oprah Winfrey is seen as a goddess of television. So if there's one scandal about her, it'll destroy her. Trump's had so many scandals against him that if you put out another scandal against him, it won't be that effective. So by the media making him look bad, he's very good at using his opponents and like turning them to look like idiots, which most of them are. And he's very good at doing that. He's very good at making the opposition look like embarrassing the opposition. He's very good at that.
It's all down to what? It's all down to America wants change and they need it. It's just a bit stupid how.
And I can understand that, but the stuff that the people who want change put out, it's mostly based on emotion, not facts. Obviously, it's a normal, natural reaction. Oh yeah, this guy is shooting someone with guns. Remove all the guns. Well, sometimes it just does not work like that.
Yeah, but I think we're going to go back to, I've seen a lot of people making points about Australia. From 1979 to 1996, Australia had 13 mass shootings. Australia and its states then made tougher gun control measures and offered to buy all the firearms back in 96 after, I think it was in Tasmania, where a gunman killed 30 people.
I saw that, yeah.
Using a semi-automatic rifle. Since then, the next 19 years, in 2016, research showed that there hadn't been one mass shooting since in Australia, and people go around saying that stricter gun laws don't affect things.
Yeah, but the thing is, what happened in Australia, not all the guns have been handed in. Only a third of the guns in Australia were handed in. Now, if now if the vast majority of guns were handed in, I believe there'll be more gun crime. Because the people who did have them few guns would have an advantage because no one would have guns, no one else would have guns apart from them who sneaked like made guns themselves or illegally got them from someone else. But in Australia, only a third of the guns were handed in, so that means there's a lot of illegal guns going around there. And they've been very fortunate so far, but they're on a thin wire with gun laws in Australia.
And I was reading somewhere, since 2013, around 290 shootings in school have happened in America. This happens nowhere else except for America. I know gun crime in schools and everywhere else happens in some other places of the world, but not as much as America. Because they just need change. They average about one a week. Yes, some of them include suicides, but if once again, say if you go make some, this is the most out of the ordinary example. Say if you go make some toast, there's no butter. You're not going to butter your toast, are you? If you have no guns, you're not going to be shooting people. It's one of the simplest things, but then again, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of misunderstanding as well. How AR-15, many people believe that was a assault rifle because AR, but it's not.
Yeah.
I think it's the company that makes it. I think it's Armalite or something like that. But there's a lot of downsides to it. Upside, it's a great self-defense weapon, which people will always put up there. It's easier to shoot than a handgun. It's got less powerful bullets or something like that than a handgun. So it's one of the lowest powered rifles people can buy on the market. It estimated 61% of all civilian rifle sales in 2016. That is ridiculous. People will go around saying, "Oh, but we heard them with it's an automatic rifle. You just keep firing it." It is illegal to purchase an AR-15 on a fully automatic without a federal firearms license.
Yeah.
But then, still in America, it is legal to buy, say, modifications or something to give the gun a buff to make it more rapid fire or powerful, which...
Yeah. And honestly, maybe that could be another good, maybe that could be a good point. Maybe no modifications on it, but you have to look that would be a fair argument, and we can have a conversation about that. But thing is, how then people like to put modifications because they like to go hunting, or they just prefer it, and you just have to look at how it affects different people. And I don't agree with when people say, "Oh, we'll still have guns, but ban assault rifles," which is absolutely ludicrous because the vast majority of gun crimes that happen in America are done with handguns.
Mm-hmm. But then, I don't believe that people need this much firepower in the family homes. Why do some people believe it's normal to own an AR-15?
Because they are very responsible, law-abiding civilians who keep their guns locked up, very safe in an attic or a basement.
Yeah, but that's for self-defense. You can talk about self-defense, but owning a semi-automatic rifle, surely that's too much. That weapon can kill hundreds of people.
This is the reason
in the wrong hands.
The reason why people have these guns, right? The reason why Americans have guns in the first place is because of the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment says people should have guns to prevent yourself from a radical government. Now, a radical government is obviously a government that turns on its own people. Now, if say if America had no guns and the government turned on, this can happen in any country, it's happened many times before, I can give you lots of examples. If the government turns on its own people and comes with these massive military weapons, what can you do? When they come into your home, what are you going to do? With a steak knife and a big machine, a big gun versus a steak knife, there's no competition there. And that's why people have guns. to protect themselves. It may not happen in the next 100 years, 50 years, but it will eventually happen. And then the people, so that it gives the people more power, and I'm fully in support of that.
But then again, the Second Amendment was way back. I don't know the exact date, but that was when it was more of like the muskets, and they had early rifles, but they weren't like if a good shooter could probably get around 2 rounds out of a early rifle. These days, people, a 19-year-old can go into a store legally and buy an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, and then he can
defend himself.
Then he can upgrade it and make it more powerful.
That's almost like saying, when the founding fathers created the First Amendment for free speech, they didn't know what television was back then, so it didn't apply to TVs. It's not the same thing. You still defend yourself whatever weapon you can. Obviously, remember, you have the option to buy a gun. You don't have to. So if you're not in support of it, you don't have to buy a gun. But it's your option to buy a gun and defend yourself. And I think a gun is the most effective way to defend yourself these days.
Yeah, but then you say like, oh, it doesn't apply to TV and stuff. But that's television. That's right. This is 17 people were killed by a semi-automatic rifle. Obviously TV is one of the most biggest improvements ever known to mankind. But then a semi-automatic rifle that is from a little war musket. AR-15 was made for war. It is a deadly weapon. It's powerful. It should not be in the hands of a mentally ill 19-year-old. It should be in the hands of anyone.
Yeah. I agree that it shouldn't be in the hands of a mentally ill person. Certainly agree with that. But the thing is, this is the people's attitude of America who agree with having guns. If the government have it, the people should have it. So the government don't have power over the people. The government should work for the people, not the people working for the government.
Yeah, but then the thing is, people just let go. Like, oh yeah, that's the problem though. People sit there and say, well, we can't do anything. It's not the gun's fault. It's the idiot behind the gun. How can anyone justify being able to purchase a gun such as the AR-15? They can rant about it being the lowest powered semi-automatic rifle on the market, but you can still buy them components to give it a buff. It's stupidly deadly. 17 people killed. It's something like, I think this was used in the last 5 or something. Oh yeah, I've just got it here. AR-15 semi-automatic rifle was used in the Aurora, Newton, San Bernardino, Sutherland Springs, and Las Vegas mass shootings, and now Florida. It's one of the most popular weapons, and it's obviously because it's one of the most powerful weapons.
No, but like what people ignore is, yeah, they may have scary, deadly guns, but the people who buy them guns, the vast majority of them, are law-abiding citizens who keep them locked up. Like they're very safe. If they weren't, America would be destroyed by now with warfare, with guns flying everywhere.
You can go to a football team and say, oh, these are great players. They always try the best, but then there can always be one that doesn't try the best, and that one that doesn't try the best can affect the whole team's performance.
Exactly. That's my point. I could turn that on you. Why should everyone's guns be taken away? Every law-abiding citizen guns be taken away just because of one idiot?
Yeah, but that one idiot. Well, go back to the football point. That can affect it. If it's a Champions League final, and it's Barcelona versus Real Madrid, Messi doesn't show up and he keeps kicking the ball into his own net. They lose 4-0. That's effect. They can't go back. They can't do anything because the one person and his actions caused it. This shooting has become a regular thing, and it's stupid. That one person, if America weren't allowed guns and had stricter gun laws, that would not have happened.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. If the government went, right, that's it, we're taking all your guns, right? There are over 300 million guns right now in the US. who people have, do you really think every single one of them 300 million guns will go to the government? I mean, if only a third of them were handed in Australia, there won't be that many handed in America.
Mm-hmm. That's something I agree with. It would be hard, but then, like, still, if less people have them, it's morally better. I think it's mainly a security issue. Like, one, how he got through background checks is ridiculous, especially with all the social media and all like his neighbours seeing the police go to his house for violent acts and stuff.
Yeah,
it's where I know his parents. He got adopted at an early age, I believe. His father died when he was 4. His mother recently died. I think that's the thing. It looks like news articles are trying to like defend him, saying, "Oh, he's not in the right state of mind. His parent recently died. He's a broken human being." That still doesn't justify the fact that he's just killed 17 people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, there's been quite a few really successful people who've had tough childhoods. I mean, like
Bill Gates for one.
Oprah, she's another one. She's the most famous person on television, right? And her mother and her got raped when she was like very young. So like she's had a very tough childhood, but that doesn't mean you can't be successful, and that's something I totally agree with.
Exactly. Like I was looking at a tweet, I saw you retweeted it. Someone was on about this person put Nikolas Cruz put up for adoption at an early age, then goes on to kill 17 people. Why isn't abortion like the for abortion? And then someone quoted that tweet and put Bill Gates put Bill Gates for adoption, and Bill Gates. He's one of the richest men in the world. He's one of the smartest, cleverest people in the world.
That was Ben Shapiro's tweet, and he's like one of my heroes, to be fair. That's where I watch quite a few shows, but he's one of the main where I get my facts and sources from, because he's very reliable, and he's one of the smartest people in America right now. And apparently he's running for president in 2024, so hopefully it comes it. But that's another topic.
I agree with some of the things he says, but then I think he's too not aggressive. Like that's not the right word, but if he really stands by what he believes in, and rightly so, but like I saw a tweet the other day, something like, "Can't all people from the left let their families grieve for a day before they push their anti-gun agenda?"
Yeah.
It's about the lunatic behind the gun. Is it though? Like, what are your thoughts? Like,
well, I think Twitter's a really bad place for tragedies like this and other social media. As soon as a tragedy happens like this, Hillary Clinton's the most guilty person on earth of doing it. Before the bodies have went cold, like Hillary Clinton and the left, they start really like using this tragedy to push the gun control. And obviously, people are very emotional soon after that tragedy. So what us and the right do, we let it go for a couple of days, and then get the emotion side of it out, and then because as soon as after the tragedy, there's more and more facts that come out and background stories that come out. So we look at them and then we start to argue our case. But yeah, I would agree with that the left, not everyone, but some people on the left decide to use this to push their political agenda.
Yeah, but the only reason they're pushing the political agenda is because it needs to be changed. The thing is, you look at, after all these mass shootings, people come out and say, "Oh, it's not the right time to talk about it now." Yes, it is. I was looking at Jimmy Kimmel's message on this whole situation, and his speech was perfect, I believe, because Donald Trump can say, "Oh, it's not the right time," and then let it slide. That's the problem. If you don't make change and let it be, it's just going to keep happening. We need this to stop. We can't just let it continue. And I'm not saying that's what he's trying to do, but think about this: if it was a Muslim or someone or like a Mexican killing 17 people in school, how much money and time do you think Donald Trump would put into making change happen? One lunatic came in this country, he's like, oh, we need to build a wall. Making sure this does not happen again. But because it was a white male, apparently there's nothing we can do. I call BS on that. Stricter gun laws doesn't affect gun crime. I call BS on that. Nobody should go to school and not return home. America needs change, and they need it like now.
Well, there's a few points you made there. Firstly, the fewer guns means fewer crime. The thing is absolutely nonsense, right? Like in Chicago, they've got the strictest gun laws in America. You're not allowed guns there. Like very specific guns. There's still 3,550 shootings like in the whole of 2017. Right, that's first off. Then Jimmy Kimmel. I used to be a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. But then as soon as he started putting politics into it, he's very much based on emotion, not facts. And obviously, he cares. Obviously, I think everyone cares, but we just have different ways of solving this. And Jimmy Kimmel, he virtue signals a lot about Trump. He always goes to Trump first, like, oh, what are you going to do? Remember, the president can't do this on his own. If the president can't go, right, I want to ban all guns now, he can't do that. He's got to pass it on to higher courts and judges. And then so he doesn't have the absolute power to do that.
Yeah, but then it's just like...
And remember when Obama, when he was president, he was talking about taking away guns in 2010, I believe, and the gun sales rocketed up by like 30%. People are buying more guns because when a president says, I'm going to take away all your guns, people try to buy guns before the deadline, and that shows to me they're not going to happen.
But then you go back to like, it's all based on emotion. Well, clearly it is, because still you can take your time, let all the emotions go past, and then sort it out. But then you have to think. 17 people were killed. Obviously, emotion's going to be high. It's one of the most horrible things ever. Obviously, I was watching a video of one of the mothers of one of the victims that were killed. It was perfect. She was just saying what she needed. Her emotions made her speech, I say, more powerful, because you see what it's like. Emotions, they can affect the outcome of what people think, but then the only reason it affects the outcome is because it's happened. Her daughter was killed, and she wants change. Like, America needs change, and his daughter was killed. She's gonna be upset. She's not gonna be all happy and jolly. Oh, look, my daughter went to school and she was killed. Oh, Donald Trump don't do anything. She wants to. She knows what it's like to lose a daughter. She doesn't want that to happen to any other person.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I do feel bad for her, of course. But I think that if people start putting emotions over facts, that's where the country is going to get destroyed. That's it. We've got to care about facts, truth. To be fair, like emotions, yeah. Obviously, everyone has emotions, but them emotions, yeah, it's sad. But them emotions, just because I feel sorry for you, it doesn't mean I should change stuff. Just for someone's emotions. I think if we put emotions over facts, we miss out the truth. And I focus on truth and facts personally. And I think that's one of the key differences between the left and the right. The left focuses more on emotions and the right focuses more on facts.
But then, if you focus on facts and say, oh, I'm not going to change it because I feel sorry for them, you can look back to, I think it was last September, I believe, Las Vegas, 59 dead. The biggest mass shooting a year after the last mass shooting, which was 49 dead, I believe. And it's becoming a more big thing. And now one's happened, 17 dead in Florida. Not because nothing's been done. If something's done, it will stop happening.
Yeah, and I think this could have been, obviously this Florida shooting could have been prevented. And I think that's because of the system, because he was mentally ill. The Las Vegas shooting, he didn't have a criminal record, he was an accountant, so he's, quite well educated. No one thought he would perfectly mentally stable. So this is the thing; it's very unpredictable. So how could you have stopped what happened in Las Vegas if there was nothing wrong with it? You just couldn't have stopped it happening.
But then I'll go back to the point. The year before that, 39 dead. If stricter gun laws and everything else changed, do you really think that Las Vegas shooting would have happened?
Yeah.
You say the Las Vegas shooting, he wasn't under anyone's radar. That's one of the things that, yeah, he wasn't. But then you go to this. Nikolas Cruz wasn't really under anyone's radar. He was violent, and everyone knows it. He posing with guns on Instagram, commenting on YouTube videos saying, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter." Everyone says he acts weirdly, and police have been called to his house for violent reasons, but still he's not under anyone's radar. Still there was no way of preventing this. He wasn't given help because he was mentally unstable. That's the FBI, security, everything to do in charge with all of that. They're one of the worst losers on this because.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the FBI are like one of the people to blame for this. But like I say, like something evil is a thing where sometimes it just cannot be explained. Like look at the Las Vegas thing. It's been how many months since after it, and we still don't know like why he did it. That's why we don't call it a terrorist attack, because it's because he had no, like, he didn't have political or religion his agenda on him. So that's the point. Like what people ignore is like most shootings that happen, the killer is killed by another man with a gun. Look at the shooting in that small village in Texas, or was it where it was an atheist who shot up a church and shot up lots of Christians. The killer there got killed by a man who was a member of the NRA, who had his gun safely locked up. He got it out and shot him, and and for me, he didn't get enough airtime on TV, as he's a real hero here. But but like normally the killer are killed. Not in this case, not in a few cases, but mostly the killer is killed by another man with a gun.
Yeah, but if that original man didn't have the gun, would he have killed all them Christians? No. Simply as a point, no.
Yeah, no, but that's the point I'm making. When people say all guns would be banned, I believe if America got rid of them guns like 10 years ago, I still believe that Las Vegas shotgun shooting would have happened, because guns still go around. Look, the UK, there's still guns that go around illegally. Look, fortunately, we don't get many shootings, but just Chicago is a prime example, and look, California have very strict gun laws, and they still have quite a lot of shootings. Chicago have thousands of shootings. They have record numbers, and they have the strictest gun laws in the country.
Yeah, that's one thing I do agree with. You talk about overthrowing the government and saying case. I was reading somewhere it was like saying case like country got invaded. Very unlikely, but it can happen. And then people were making points about like how Britain have strict gun laws and they don't get invaded. But I don't think people realise that America is a massive country. Their neighbours in Mexico, not the best friends of them. If they got invaded by, say, some South Americans or something, Britain is an island. They're not going to get invaded by the shark that lives in the Pacific Ocean. It's not how it works. Like, I agree with overthrowing the government, but then you have to look at the downsides. You can also look at the upsides and be like, it's so the government don't have fully control of the people, but then it also allows this man to kill 70 people in Florida. It's ridiculous.
And that's why I don't agree with people like comparing shootings, like statistics with shootings from America to Britain. Those are two completely different countries in terms of size. Like, two completely different. There's so many more schools in America than Britain, and I don't agree. Fortunately, we have done well with guns. I have to say, we've done well with guns. But the problem we're having right now is acid attacks and trucks. Trucks, there's lots of people killed by trucks now because there's Islamic terrorist attacks, and and are we going to ban trucks? No, right? It's just not going to happen.
But then
So I don't,
you have to it's also trucks, it's transport, it's what basically nearly every business in the world uses. It's one of
yeah,
those vital things, and
yeah, and I could say the same with guns. It's used crucially to protect yourself because the gun. Because what weapon is more effective to the civilians than a gun? I can't think of one off the top of my head.
nothing. But then it's in the hands of wrong people. It goes wrong. You can always argue oh yeah, but it's just the one idiot behind the gun.
Well,
That one idiot behind the gun wouldn't have a gun if there was no guns.
don't you think people should have a right to protect themselves?
Yes, I do. I do agree with self-defense and all the rights, but then it's outweighed by the idiots and people who can go kill 17 people and mentally
Yeah,
ill people.
yeah, and that's what I think. What's wrong with the media and everything? People focus on the bad rather than the good. People focus on, oh, I don't care that there's millions and millions upon millions of people with guns that are responsible, law-abiding families that have them just to protect themselves. But people focus on a couple of idiots with guns, and then they say, right, I want all guns banned. And what the thing is, the left. The left says this, and they accuse us of doing the same with Islam. They say to us, "Oh, just because a couple of people, just because a couple of Muslims made bombs and blew people up, it doesn't mean that Islam's bad." And I'm literally like, you do the same with guns. You say that because a couple of idiots with guns are going around shooting people, every law-abiding citizen should get the guns taken away from them.
No, but then that's also you say we're not targeting a whole race and saying, "Oh, Islam's right." We're trying to preserve the lives of people. 17 were dead.
So we.
The amount of times I've said the word 17 in this podcast is ridiculous because we just go straight back to the fact 17 people were killed. 17 children
Yeah, no.
included were killed. They had
That's
whole
what-
lives ahead of them. It's awful. And nothing's being done to stop that.
And I think there could be stuff done, but I don't think taking away guns are one of them. I think one of the things that a mother was actually saying of a person's big. I don't know if this is the same mother that you're talking about. She one of her children got killed in that awful shooting, and she said put metal detectors
Yeah, I saw that.
at the entries of school, and I don't think that's a bad policy. See, that's
Yeah,
what I
I
like.
agree with that.
That's what I like when people say this is bad. This is how I can prevent it. Not just say something needs to change. Say that something.
Yeah.
What is that something? Put your ideas out there, and that's how we can. And that's how in America, they can make the country better by getting ideas and trying to work something out. And but when people say something needs to change, what is that something?
But yeah, then it all just comes down to the leadership of America and will they change? Most likely not. Once again, and another. This is a good point. Most left-wing politicians always go back to this point. Piers Morgan loves this point. Kinder eggs. They are illegal. Little chocolate eggs are illegal to purchase because little plastic toys are inside. But a 19-year-old person can go in to a shop and buy an AR-15 rifle. A 9-year-old girl held a automatic Uzi and was doing firing practice at a target range. She lost control and killed the instructor, but she couldn't buy a Kinder Egg. That is one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever heard.
Well, no, because a Kinder Egg and a gun, they do completely different things. You can't really compare them to. Also, they're used for two different reasons.
Yeah, but I'm not comparing. I'm just saying how a Kinder Egg is illegal, but a 9-year-old being able to fire Uzi gun isn't. It's ridiculous. The law is ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. It needs to be changed. They need to make it stricter and not have 19-year-old mentally ill people can go and buy semi-automatic rifles, and 9-year-olds can accidentally kill someone with an Uzi.
I personally don't agree with them being so young, being taken to target ranges and that. Like, there was a case like 8 years ago of a daughter. This is a horrifying story. This daughter found a gun in her house and shot her brother with it. But she was young, so she didn't know what it was in. It's a horrible story. But
you
I
can
think
also go back to the point, say, if they're locked away, then...
Yeah, I know. So that's down to the parents. I don't agree with the parents taking their children to target ranges at an age of 9.
It's all down to like the people in control again, and like security. Like this boy's parents, if he obviously wasn't well raised, otherwise he wouldn't be killing 70 people. It's all down to where people get it from, and that's the issue. Where do people get it from? It's ridiculous.
Maybe houses. Maybe now in America, houses should be, every single house. It must be a legal requirement. If you're going to build houses from now in America, every house should require a spare room for the guns to be put in. I think that's one way that could help it. I don't know if they do that already, but if they don't, I think that's one way.
If we lived in America, it would be helpful again. But just before we end, I just want to touch on subject. The gunman pleaded guilty after saying he was remorseful for what he did, and I've literally never seen the internet erupt more, because most of the tweets were just people furious, like proper against him, and rightly so. Horrible man, deserves the worst.
Yeah.
People were furious that he's behind bars alive while 17 innocents have been killed. People want him to get the death penalty. What do you think? What do you agree?
I'd say get the death penalty. I mean, either that or torture him and then kill him. Any of them to just make sure he's dead. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And I do agree that death penalty is moral. And people say, "Oh, well, yeah, but we saw much when it was around in the UK. How many times they got it wrong?" People don't realise science has changed since 1960s. Science has improved, and a study, I can't remember which study it was, but they estimated that if death penalty is brought back to the UK, it'll be a less than 0.1% chance that they'll get it wrong.
But then I think it was 1964, I believe, the last execution.
Yeah, it was
in England, but. The law that was put in place saying it was like taking away someone's human right to live.
That's ridiculous.
In a way, I agree with it, because it's still taking away another man's life. Yes, he did kill 17 people. I think he deserved the worst, possibly capital punishment, but then it's still taking away another man's life. This is one of the points I'll give. If you keep him behind bars for the rest of his life imprisonment, give him the worst time in prison, that gives him more time to think about what he's done and realise, I'm one of the worst human beings ever. And when, it punishes him, keep him life imprisonment, not going to have any life, he's not going to have a future, he's going to get the worst time in prison, behind bars. But if you just kill him by, say, electric chair or whatever you want to do, and put him out of his misery, what punishment? Yes, he's lost his life, but he's not gonna feel it, really, is he? If you understand that.
And that's one of the points that I really strongly don't believe in, where people say, yeah, he would get the death penalty, but where's his human rights? Where were the human rights of the 17 children that got killed? Where was the human rights of the 59 people at Las Vegas that got killed? Where are the people in San Bernardino who got killed? Like people are so scared. This killer, he may have killed tens and tens of people, but he's still got a life. where was the human right to live for the 17 children? So I think that's a ridiculous argument from some people who make that statement.
I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but then if you kill, it's just he's not going to get. If I personally believe if he gets life imprisonment, it's bigger punishment than capital punishment. Which some people say ridiculous because you want his life to be taken away. Yes, 17 innocents were killed. Horrible thing. But if you just kill a man, he's not gonna. Yes, he's lost his life, but you also take away.
I would honestly torture him. Not gonna lie, I'm a bit more violent in that approach, but I would honestly torture him. Like the evil.
If he's but then I assume that he's still gonna have his life at the end of being tortured. Like that's punishment. That is good punishment, which I believe in.
But so what about Trump in this case then? So I personally think I don't know what he can do here, to be fair, because if he does ban the guns, he doesn't have that much power to do that. He's going to pass it on to judges and so. And I think also if Trump does that, he's going to lose the next election. Like if he does that, Alabama is his main state, and people there are hugely in favour of gun rights. And if he takes them away from him, he's going to turn very unpopular. But I think he's just helpless in this case. To be fair, to him. But yeah, I think what needs to happen maybe.
It's just I don't believe anything's going to change.
Maybe military in schools. Maybe metal detectors, which I'm more in favour of because we need military men and women to work in the military. Well. So I think metal detectors is a good way of doing one.
High security checks as well, definitely.
But I'm no expert on this. There's more experts on this. I'll just have to see what happens in the future.
I personally don't believe anything's going to change drastically because nothing.
No, of course it won't.
Yeah, it's
the Second Amendment.
Yeah,
it's the American.
Yeah, it's founding fathers.
Apart from the Bible,
and then
it's America's most important book. So,
but you go back to the election. If Trump wins the next election, I pray for.
He probably
America.
will.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. See, I don't mind Trump, so I think if he won the next election, I would rather have him in than Joe Biden or Oprah. Mind you, Oprah has just announced that she won't be running for president, but she's a very good speaker. But I think I would rather have Trump in. Obviously, I do disagree with Trump on some stuff, but most of the things I quite like about him.
And also, one of the reasons I don't think anything's going to change is we go back to his speech. Didn't mention the word gun once. He's clearly trying to shy away from it. And I saw some points like people bringing it down to like the NRA and money.
Oh God!
You have to remember, this is America. He is the president of the United States, and to bring it down that he's not going to change anything because he wants money.
No, honestly, that's ridiculous. The NRA are in the top. Honestly, the NRA aren't in the top dozen in spending to politicians. Exactly. Like literally, there was a opposing association that I think the NRA raised. I don't know if it was to Trump or not, but I think during the election they raised about like $200 million to one of the politicians. It might be Trump, it might not be. But another association, which is run by the Democrats, which are a left-wing group party in America, an association run by them raised $1.4 billion dollars. So the fact that they're accusing the NRA of
Exactly.
spending lots and lots of money, that's
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. I just think most, like, especially a lot of news places need to, especially CNN. CNN is one of the worst
And
reliable.
MSNBC.
Yeah, they just need to do the research. It's simple as like the
They
people
they
like.
just spend all the time bashing through them, and no one takes them seriously anymore. Like,
I don't know what exact news letter it was, but they were blaming it on like assault rifles, even though it wasn't an assault rifle. Saying someone walked into a school and killed 17 people with an assault rifle on fully automatic.
it just
Just
like when
wasn't. They
people
just
say,
need to do the research.
just when people say like, "Oh, ban assault rifles, but keep handguns," that's just wrong.
Anyway,
That's wrong.
I believe say if you ban modifications of this gun, then this semi-automatic AR-15 is actually less powerful than
Yeah,
most handguns.
will he have still killed the same amount of people? Maybe, but
The only thing I don't agree with is that say it's more accurate and it's easier to shoot,
yeah,
which is obviously like for self-defense, yes, but then in the wrong hands,
but
ridiculous.
yeah. I think people got to disrespect the Second Amendment. I don't think they can go back now. I think there's no option but to keep the guns, in my opinion.
It is
Um,
what it is.
people are forgetting there are millions upon millions of moral, law-abiding citizens who have got guns and have been superb with the guns, being very responsible. So yeah, so I think people need to focus on that a bit more when they're saying ban all guns because they're going to affect them. And also the government, radical government, turned on its own people. It's it can be a possibility. Maybe not in the next 100 years, but it will eventually happen. It's happened in France. It's happened in Italy. It's happened in Russia. It's happened all over the world. Japan. It's happened all over the world. So people need to protect themselves, and I'm in full support of more power to the people.
I think there's just you can argue for days on end for both sides. Like there's very positive points for both sides. It's just what it all comes down to.